Change your life, change your life. I keep hearing this repeated throughout the self-help community that has branched into spirituality. How can you change something that isn't yours? Why would you ask life to change? Life isn't yours, it's you. And if there's something about life, which you are, that you deem inappropriate, that you deem unacceptable, that's you pushing against yourself. That's you trying to change yourself. When there is nothing about you that is unacceptable. There is nothing about you that is wrong. There is nothing about you, life, that needs changing. All of the self-help, the self-improvement. Who is this self that we're helping? Who is this self that is presumably in trouble, that is problematic and thus in need of help? Because it isn't you. It isn't anyone. What happens if we stop playing any roles? The happening will carry on. There will still be the opportunity to play. The play is never ending. But what if we stop identifying? Is it possible that deeper embodiment is actually the result of no longer becoming the character? If we're aware, if we're conscious in the process, instead of becoming this character and losing our consciousness to it, taking it on as identity, can we become more conscious in the deliberate playing of this role, aware that it is play, aware that it is just an act, just the role of this moment, the costume of right now? Is it possible to be nobody and no thing in particular in a world that demands identification? Maybe by taking none of it seriously. By treating it all with a bit of flippancy and facetiousness. It feels like wheels spinning. At what point do we realize that trying the same thing over and over in different ways only yields the same result? That trying is what is ensuring the same experience is repeated. Trying to find our way out of it, trying to prevent it, trying to stop it, trying to change it is what's keeping it the same. At what point do we just sit down where we are and realize everything is okay? At what point do we decide to accept our surroundings instead of trying to find our way out of them? At what point do we choose to make friends with the present moment and everything that it contains, instead of trying to fend it off, instead of facing it with false positivity, pretending to love it so that it might go away and become something better? At what point do we just stop trying to reframe and take the frame off completely? When do we unframe? When do we just stop telling the story? Not a better story, not a better feeling one, just no fucking story. When do we sit down face to face with what really is and meet it eye to eye, objectively, with curiosity? When do we see it for what it is? Not what we want it to be, not what we don't want it to be. Simply what it is, which has no story attached, no meaning, no purpose, except to be. When do we stop demanding life serve some greater purpose, and so cease placing this ridiculous demand upon ourselves? When do we realize that the meaning isn't out there? That the happiness isn't out there in the ideas of success? Whatever that may be. When do we realize that success is just a story? That we were right there all along. That this ride isn't leading anywhere. There isn't a destination. It's not just not about the destination, there isn't one. There is not some place that we're going that's better. There is not some place we've left behind that's worse. There is just motion. Continuous, and beneath that, the motionless. When does it stop? The seeking, I mean. When do we learn how to realize that we've already arrived? That nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be added. There's nothing to be done. Except to be and allow and experience what is. Yes, I'm pulling cards. Unspecifically, they just felt like being in my hand. To me, this Four of Cups is a grass is always greener on the other side. That's the feeling. When will we open to receive the beauty that is right now, instead of focusing on some perceived, imagined idea of beauty outside of this moment? Either the past or the future, somewhere else, over there with a different person, a different job, a different life. When do we realize we're missing all of the magic that's happening right now? Because we refuse to look at it. Because we refuse to see it for what it is. Again, I'm not talking about false positivity. I'm not talking about blocking out the negative. That's part of what causes all of this. When we resist anything, we resist everything. When we try to enforce boundaries in our thoughts, we close ourselves off. When we close to the pain, we close to the pleasure. When we close up against what we think is ugly, we shut our eyes against the beautiful. We have to see it all of it, and only in seeing all of it simultaneously is the true beauty revealed, the underlying beauty, the beauty that is so much deeper than the fleeting moment of surface expression, so much deeper than conditioning and cultural preference. The beauty that is being. The beauty that is life force energy, that is living love. The beauty that is animating all of this. That all of this form was born from. The beauty that is what you are, and what you are is giving life to the form. And it is not the specifics of that form that was ever beautiful to you. It was simply the fact that it was born from your being. Born for its own joy, for its own desire and delight. Born free, that is, not within your control, not following your specifications. You gave one specification, that was for it to be free, like you. And everything is the reflection of you. Utterly free, utterly perfect, no two the same. Never the same moment to moment. That's you. You, beautiful in your pock-marked pustules. Beautiful in your muck, beautiful in your blood. Beautiful in your brambles and tangles and snags and snarls. Beautiful. Beautiful in your wilderness, in your seething and steaming. Beautiful in all ways. You are always changing. You are always in process. And yet you are the one that is complete. And exploring your own completion by experiencing never-ending evolution. Because to be finished is not the same as being complete. You are the true completion, the complete that is never finished, because it is all, which is always more. So I want to let it all in the way that is truly appreciative, and that is not with false positivity, but with the actual acceptance that comes with clear vision. Clear vision which is neutral. It is unframed. There is no story here. It is neither negative nor positive. It simply is, and is good for being. But it is not an aversion. It is not an aversion to the uglier aspects of existence. It is not an aversion to suffering, to despair, to anxiety or fear, to anger or even loathing. It's not an aversion to aggression. It is an honest examination of these things, and an examination is not analysis. It is not asking why. It is not looking for a story. It is not creating a narrative. It is simply seeing that this is present. And it is holding it gently there, as if it were some magnificent object in one's hand. And so it is examining by way of the gentle turning of this object, the sensation, the thought, whatever it is that is here. Receiving the totality of it without resistance. And observing. is only in observing the continuous passing away, the death, the form, that we recognize the truth of eternal life. It is only in drawing close what we have pushed away from us that we break the bonds of attachment, and we allow it to flow through the channel that we are, rather than becoming stuck in the stillness. All is broken loose. We are never without the answer that we're seeking. But one day we will stop asking questions. We will stop needing answers. And then the real magic will begin. The magic of sustained presence, sustained awareness, sustained consciousness that is never pulled into the mental realm of questioning. It is curiosity, but it is open. Unbounded. Without frame. There is no going back. There is no back to go to. Nor is there really a forward. There is just the steady streaming of right now, the continuous flow. There is nowhere to be but here. And when we are here fully, when we stop asking here to be different or to explain itself, when we stop telling stories about what here is or why or what it means, when we finally settle into the conscious being that is our natural state, the illusion of suffering will dissipate. The miasma will clear. Our total grace and perfection will be known without doubt. And when knowing occurs without doubt, there is no shadow that can fall. The time is now, and it is the time to be here. Come home. You never really left. Open your eyes and recognize that all you have been seeking is truly and eternally present here, now. So it is. So it shall be.